Hey guys, Andre here, and as you probably know, the NES Classic came out today, which allows you to play 30 classic NES games, all wrapped up in an enjoyable form factor being a mini NES. It's pretty darn cool. But as part of the whole retro throwback thing today, Nintendo is bringing back the Power Line. Now, if you haven't heard of the Power Line, or if you didn't grow up in the 80s or 90s like I did, what it was a phone line you could call up if you needed help with a game, and a real-life Nintendo counselor would walk you through what you needed to do. So I actually called it myself as a kid a couple of times. Specifically, one moment I can remember was I was stuck in a Link's Awakening dungeon, and there was this room with 3 enemies. I had no idea what to do. So I called them up, and they walked me through it, which you had to defeat the 3 enemies in a particular order to unlock a door or get a key or something. I can't fully remember. But it was super cool. And since I lived local, it was free. But I believe if you lived outside of Washington, you had to pay long-distance charges. Anyway, so Nintendo's brought this back today, allowing you to call up for help on the games on the NES Classic. Now, as far as I know, these aren't real-life counselors. They are all pre-recorded. But I thought it'd be fun to call them up right now and check it out. So that's what I'm going to do right now. So here we go. Hopefully you can hear this. I'm just recording it off my phone. We'll put on the speakerphone here. And we'll see what happens.
Thank you for calling Nintendo's Power Line, which is back for one weekend only to celebrate the release of the Nintendo Entertainment System NES Classic Edition system, now available in stores at a suggested retail price of only $59.99. From your first Goomba stomp to defeating Ganon and getting the Triforce, the original Nintendo Entertainment System played host to many of gaming's most memorable moments. And now, a new miniaturized version is here, preloaded with 30 of the all-time greatest NES games, including The Legend of Zelda, Super Mario Bros. 3, and Metroid. Just plug it in and play. If your NES skills are a little rusty, don't worry. Some of the original gameplay counselors are here to share a few top tips, and maybe even a story or two of their days on the original Gameplay Counselor Hotline. To hear a gameplay tip for The Legend of Zelda, press 1. To hear a gameplay tip for Super Mario Bros. And Super Mario Bros. 3, press 2. To hear a gameplay tip for Metroid, press 3.
Alright, you heard the man. Let's go with Zelda first.
Hi, I'm Pat Wells. During my days as a gameplay counselor, I sometimes help players beat a game from beginning to end. Most often it was The Legend of Zelda, which was a tricky game to get to back before you could look up answers on the internet.
He's not kidding.
A player would call after getting stuck in a dungeon, then call back an hour later asking for help on the next dungeon, and then the next. By the end of the day, they might have called me a dozen times. But it was always rewarding when you help someone navigate a difficult dungeon, find a missing item, or beat that tough boss. We were gameplay counselors, and our job was to turn players' frustrations into victory. Sometimes the callers were so young they didn't even know their left from the right. You tell them to go 2 screens to the right, and they say, is that towards my kitchen or is that towards my living room? But that would always make me smile. Speaking of The Legend of Zelda,
yeah, where's the tip?
did you know beating the game unlocks a second quest with new dungeons and new hiding places for everything? If you'd like to start the second quest right away without beating the main quest first, just start a new game and register your name as Zelda. The second quest is a lot tougher, so good luck.
Now you're playing with power. To hear a gameplay tip for Super Mario Bros. And Super Mario Bros. 3, press 1. To hear a gameplay tip for Metroid, press 2.
Alright, let's go Mario.
Hi, I'm Melvin Forrest. I got my job as a gameplay counselor in 1990 after participating in Nintendo's Power Fest. I lost the tournament, but still got the job. Since I would answer hundreds of calls a day, I tried to make them as fun as possible for both the players and myself. I especially enjoyed it when someone would be so excited to speak to me that they'd forget the game that they were playing and where they were stuck. Since I could usually hear their game in the background, I'd tell them what it was, and they would freak out that I knew. I could also guess where they were stuck most of the time because I'd just taken lots of calls from other people with the same problem. So while it may have sometimes seemed like we gameplay counselors could read minds, we couldn't. Or could we? Let me give this a shot. You're looking for Super Mario Bros. And Super Mario Bros. 3 tips, aren't you? Here are a couple of good ones. In Super Mario Bros., after you've lost all your lives and return to the title screen, hold A and press start. You'll continue at the beginning of the world you ended on. For Super Mario Bros. 3, look for white blocks. If you stand on one and press down for about 5 seconds, Mario will fall through it and go behind the scenery for a short time. If you do this on World 1-3, You'll find a warp whistle that will let you skip to worlds 2, 3, or 4.
The Nintendo Entertainment System NES Classic Edition lets you enjoy the good old days of gaming like never before with pixel-perfect and retro display modes, and suspend points that let you save anywhere in the game. The system comes bundled with an HDMI cable, an AC adapter, one NES Classic controller, and all 30 games installed and ready to play. Additional controllers are sold separately. Revisit favorite gaming memories and make new ones. The wonderful world of 8-bit awaits. And now for your final gameplay tip.
Hi, I'm Mark Doyle. I started as a gameplay counselor in 1990, the same year that one of my favorite NES games came out, StarTropics. Well, it used to be one of my favorites. You see, back in the day, people rented a lot of games, and if you rented StarTropics, chances were you didn't get the physical letter that came packaged with it. The letter not only set up the plot, but at a certain point in the game, you were told to dip the letter in water to reveal a secret code that's needed to continue. It worked like magic, but if you didn't have the letter, you were stuck. I took so many calls about this that after a while, when someone said, "I'm playing StarTropics," I'd sometimes say 747 before they could even finish. They would laugh and say, "No way, how did you know that?" Now, there's no letter included with the Nintendo Entertainment System NES Classic Edition system, but I have it on good authority that the 747 code can be found in the Quick Start Guide. Now, I owe you a tip for Metroid. To play as Samus without her armor, go to the password screen and enter Justin Bailey. That's JUSTINBAILEY. All caps, followed by 12 spaces. This will also put you far into the game with lots of power-ups. Have fun!
Thank you for calling Nintendo's Powerline. Don't forget to check out the Nintendo Entertainment System NES Classic Edition, available now at a suggested retail price of $59.99. For more information, visit Nintendo.com.
Do you remember Mario? Remember Zelda? Sorry, I've been watching too much South Park. Anyways, that was really cool. It's nice they brought that back. It's a little flash to the past. It does remind me of growing up with a power line and being stuck in Nintendo games where, as they mentioned themselves, there were very few ways to get help beyond buying a strategy guide if the game even had one, or calling Nintendo. So that really does take me back. It was really cool that they got the actual counselors from back in the day to actually give these new retro tips. And actually, something you may not know about me is I actually used to work at Nintendo in the call center as well. Back, 10 years ago now. I left right before the Wii came out so I could go work at IGN. And even though, while I was working in the customer service department, these were unfortunately still long past the days of the Nintendo Power line. So you could call up for help with your system, but we didn't actually provide help with the games themselves. In extremely rare cases, we'd set up, I think, a callback and have someone who's familiar with the game call someone back, but that was really rare, and that it was really in the most extreme of circumstances. And I actually did it myself once. I think a few months before I left, I was able to call back someone for help on Ocarina of Time. I'm like, hey, I know Ocarina of Time, let me, do this, and I was able to. So in that way, I got a small taste of what it was like to be a power line counselor, which is pretty darn cool. Anyways, guys, there you have it. That's a look at a listen to the Powerline Nintendo setup. If you want to call for yourself, I should have mentioned this earlier, just dial 425-885-7529. Now, that is a local number, so keep in mind long distance charges may apply, although most cell phone companies, I believe, give you free long distance if you're in the same country, being the US. Alright, that is it, guys. I'm out. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening to my pointless anecdotes about the power line, and hopefully enjoy the power line itself. Have a good one, and bye.